What we're talking about today is the StackPanel, which is the first of quite a number of flowing dynamic layouts. One we've already seen is grid, which we're given automatically. And the flowing dynamic layouts automatically adjust to content change, window resizing, and display resolution change. So that basically it takes the same philosophy as HTML, and that no matter what the user is looking at it on, it's supposed to look as good as it can look, essentially. The child elements generally shouldn't be given an exact size, but grow and move at the control of their parent containers. And another thing, for most of the layout containers, you can't even give them exact coordinates, but the container determines the coordinates through a whole measure pass and a range pass, where it finds out how much space the child elements need and then tries to position them the best it can in the arrange pass. And if there's not enough room in the arrange pass for the element because it's too large, it'll just get cut off in the window. And the attributes that I've found most useful in controlling the appearance of this kind of dynamic flow are horizontal alignment and vertical alignment, especially horizontal alignment, which is usually set to, by default it's set to stretch, so it'll automatically stretch the box that elements are in, which I'll discuss later, this whole box concept. And another useful horizontal alignment is center. And another way of specifying size is min height, max height, min width, and max width, rather than specifying height and width, so that it'll adjust within certain parameters rather than totally restricting it. And then the whole box concept is implemented in margin, border, and padding, which I'm going to discuss in a separate video. It kind of deserves a video of its own. And in my opinion, sometimes you should be politically incorrect and just use a width and height, because you'll want something to look a specific way. And my last point is that layout containers can be nested inside each other in order to implement complex layouts. And I have one example of this in the code we're looking at. So this is the design view of the implementation of the XAML. And this is the XAML view. And you'll notice George Clooney is centered in the display, but Robert Downey Jr. is stretched to fill out the whole display. And that's because for the George Clooney, we have a horizontal alignment of center. And for the Robert Downey Jr., we don't have a horizontal alignment at all, so it's defaulting to stretch. And then for all of these, we have a margin of 0, 15, 0, and 0. So 0 means no left margin. 15 means a top margin of 15 pixels. And then 0 means no right margin, and 0 means no bottom margin. So these will all just be spaced 15 pixels apart, including the complex placement of the last guy. And to look at the nested stack panel, where we get the Rebecca Romaine, Linda Hamilton, and Michelle Pfeiffer, basically I'm using a different orientation. It defaults to an orientation of vertical, but I'm changing the orientation to horizontal, so these go one after another on a horizontal plane. And in all cases, the border, I'm really just using the border for this in order to show the boxes, that we're dealing with boxes that get separated and so on, in order to position it and dynamically change. And one last point I might make is, you notice on the George Clooney, the center is in the border. The horizontal alignment equals center. And then with the Christopher Reeves, we have the center if I can find him. There he is. We have the center on the text block. Text alignment equals center. Text block actually has a horizontal alignment too, but I think they're pretty close to the same. Text alignment and horizontal alignment for them. And in this case I use a text equals to specify Christopher Reeves, where most of these I put the content between the opening tag and the ending tag, which is the two ways you can specify content in a text block. So I think that covers most of the points I was trying to make. You'll probably want to look at this code on the website in order to really meditate on it enough that you get total insight. If we compile and run it, you see, as usual, it looks pretty much identical to the way it looks in the designer view. But if you stretch it out, you know, it's Robert Downey Jr. stretches out and George Clooney remains centered because of the horizontal alignment equals stretch versus the horizontal alignment equals center. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a lot, and I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe.